Hey, good morning. It is Friday, January 31st. I am Rob, thatDeveloperDad, and we're continuing to work through replacing the NPC ID that is currently an integer and turning that into a GUID. Excuse me. Yesterday, we planned out all the stuff that I got to do for this change. And in the afternoon, I got the NPC access component updated with a new version of itself. And then after the afternoon session completed, I actually built a utility application that read all of the NPCs that already exist in the current table, flipped them over, and fixed them to use that new GUID ID, and then wrote them over to a new table. Hey, what's up, Mischief Cat? And as I was getting ready to roll this morning, I noticed that I've got a bunch of changes in my local repository that I don't need propagated up to the actual repository in the cloud. Because I'm developing on a Mac, Mac OS puts some file .ds_store in all of these folders, and that doesn't need to get checked in with the code. So I'm just looking up how to get that out of there. I've added it to the git ignore, but for some reason, it is persisting in some of the subfolders. So what I'm going to do is we're going to share our screen. I looked up how to fix it, and it's just it's a git command line thing. So to get rid of any kind of file that's stored deep into a tree of something, first I'm going to do a directory lookup. All right, we're good there. And this change is all over the damn place. So let's go cd, let's go cd src ls, and there should be, where is the git ignore here? It's inside source. Yeah, here we go. And we go git rm cached dot ds store for this particular file. And you got to spell it right. Git, not got, rm cached dot ds underscore store. Let's try it again. Did not match any files. Of course not. Goof. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard this change. Yep. And I'm going to discard this change. And I think we're good there. Because I did add it down here. All right. So let's see. NPC ID refactor. Update the access component. Let's cross that out as done. Straight through. Got a console app to read everything from the existing table and write it back to a V1 table is what I did. So we'll strike that out. Boop-a-doo-doo-doo. Goodbye. Update the rest of the code. This is where we're at today. So let's see here. Put a check mark here. And we'll put a check mark on this one. That's done. And I think what I'll do here is just turn all of these projects into check marks and hit them one at a time in order. until we got them all knocked out. Now, once I start this part, I am not going to do the V1 thing that I did with the other stuff. Okay, model extensions, that is up in NPC Access. This also is in NPC Access. Close the folder view, pop open the Townsfolk Manager, and first place I got to go is Contracts, iTownsfolk Manager. Let's hide that. And load townsperson needs a param type change. System collections generic, threading tasks, and GUID. Save. And now I'm going to have all kinds of problems bloom. And that's all right. Okay. Contracts filtered townsperson. This becomes a GUID. Streaming server on your home server, because on second thought, the content buildup is. Yes. Yes, it is a very big risk. Things will get really, really, really grumpy, really, really fast when you're accumulating a large amount of content, especially video content, because that stuff takes up a ton of space. All right. Townsfolk, filtered townsperson. Got to go into the townsperson class. And let's see here. Describe an NPC. Find a way to make sure these init values don't get tampered with while they're sitting in a client browser. Let's do GUID. And that probably wants to be using system. GUID. GUID. And there's all the things. And I think instead of all of this stuff, let's rip all of this stuff out. No, this should be fine. That should be A-okay. Set ID, GUID ID. Okay. Yeah, that'll be okay. There's townsperson, internal operations, model transforms. Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, hosting a Plex server in the cloud, you're going to be going through lottery winnings on a weekly basis if you do that. Okay, NPC access filter result. This I need to .v1. We update that. Townsperson, app ID, system GUID to GUID. All right, so we're going to come back to townsperson and we're going to 86 all of these nullable things. And we'll just assign that right off the top. Let's come back to model transformers. NPC access model is the V1, so that's good. to app model. Says we're not going to sweat this right now. Townsperson filter. All right. To manager model, and it looks like we are good there. Okay. And we should be able to 86 all of those. Save. Let's take a look at townsperson up here. We're good there. Filtered. Let's get rid of these. Don't need them. And townsfolk manager has only what it needs. Good. So there's model transforms. Let's go to the actual implementation of townsfolk manager. Boop. And this is going to be littered with stuff. All right. Dot v1. Save that. Okay, that's good. It's just complaining about the thing. Let's go down to load townsperson. Change this to GUID. All right. And let's take a look at the next thing. Save townsperson has some Angular code. Op result GUID. There we go. Okay. And is that all she wrote? Is that it? Is that all the changes for the manager? Let's rebuild and watch the UI project explode. Why do you need the Windows server specifically? Mischief? Like, I assume there's some particular service that is built into Windows that is very unhappy, or that is required for that's required for what you're trying to do, that either doesn't exist or is a gigantic pain in the neck to set up for. Okay, I don't see any errors here. It's a giant pain in the neck to set up in Linux. What even is happening here? All right, whatever. Okay, that's fine. Okay, gotcha. Understood. That's why I'm using .NET Core. Well, the full .NET framework, like version 4.8, is only, it's not receiving new capabilities or anything like that. It's just receiving security patches. And as much as I like working with the Windows communication framework for building distributed systems, I can do all the important stuff with .NET Core. I lose some of the superpowers that we get in the networking, or in the service orientation stack that we used to have with WCF, but I can get by without them. They are not absolutely required for what I'm trying to do. Okay, all those namespaces are still valid. Let's run up here. I am not using access components here. Save. We do have a problem down here. Use new character, NPC ID. This is not. Aha. Oof. Core limit increase. Yikes. So you're having to run a multi-core Windows VM? I'm not sure how ugly that pricing is going to be, but I can only imagine that it ain't going to be pretty. All right, here is an issue with me assigning this NPC ID as an automatic GUID when I instantiate a new townsperson. So I'm going to need to come in here, and instead of GUID new GUID, I'm going to say GUID.empty. Now, let me verify that further out the call chain, when things like this matter, NPC access as your table provider. Actually, I think it's in the storage model where I did that transform. So there's partition key. NPC ID is GUID.empty. If value is GUID.empty. Okay, so when I go to save this as a table entity, and the ID is a empty GUID, I flip it over to a new GUID at that point. So this should be okay. But so that I can remind myself later, I am going to new instances of this class are assigned an empty GUID. This helps detect whether this is a new character and that we should increment the user's storage quota on save. Holy crap, dude. That's a lot. Are you going to be running it 24/7? And if so, can I have some of your money? That ain't cheap just for a VM. I hope you're gonna stack it full and like run that CPU and memory consumption at 100%, because that's a lot of dollars over the course of a month. Like napkin math, that's about $1,200 for a month. And I really hope that you've got some revenue generating stuff on there. GUID.empty. Because good Lord, that's a hefty compute charge, man. Just for a VM? Ooh. Oh. I almost reached for my anxiety pills. the secondhand anxiety is real. Goodness. I'm not going to ask for more details about what you're building, but goodness. NPC ID is good, empty. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's some bucks, man. $1.64 an hour USD. That's yeah, that's a cloud spend. Let's save. Oh, that's even worse. You didn't make me feel any better with your correction, Mischief. Here I am optimizing my architecture so that my cloud spend per user is as low as I can possibly get it. All right, tests. What even? Rebuild. Rebuild. I don't know why the test projects keep freaking out. There we go. Argument 2. Ah, here we go. Dot v1. Save. Rebuild. Mock NPC access. Where are you being assigned? Let's take a look in here. Drivers. I put those in support. Nope. Features. Nope. Drivers. No. Rule set fix. No. Blah, blah, blah. Save. Close that. What's the problem in here? Which one of these is grumpy at me? Oh, I got all kinds of them. Holy smokes. 250 gigs of storage? Is this for the cat website? Or is this something else? This is obviously for something else. And I'm gonna guess that it's some kind of skunkworks thing. Ah, here's my problem. So yeah, I'm not gonna pry into what the heck you need all of that compute and all of that storage for, because those out-of-pocket costs are going to be bananas. All right, let's rebuild game tools. And the UI is what's got the complaints now. So let's go into services first. NPC service proxy, workload provider. Let's just take a look at our problems here. So NPC client filter. Oh, yeah, I've got my roadmap over here. So character workloads and iCharacter workloads are set. NPC filter row model. excuse me, this becomes a GUID. This becomes a GUID. Okay, yeah, I can see needing all that horsepower for a Minecraft server. Those are not lightweight. I'm going to add a to-do in my project, in my refactor plan over here. First off, I want to make that a subheading so that it stands out a little bit. GameTools.Blazor client is currently using implicit usings. After the code changes are done and tested, let's change that and see how much pain it causes. Oof. Okay, yeah, so that's hefty. That's a very hefty thing. Okay, NPC AI load that. So I gotta go GUID boop. All right, looks like I've got everything in NPC service proxy settled. This, I need to put a dot next to it. Filter rows, service proxy, load NPC, the data type is here. All right. And now, I'm going to leave the project file open for the time being. Come into Pages, and Page Models. Create NPC page model. And I got to find, I'm not even going to bother trying to scroll down to that. NPC ID will become a GUID. Save. Looks like that's okay. This becomes a GUID. Save that. View details.razor. And I also have to go into NPC List.razor. Let's go here. And NPC ID equals current NPC, NPC model ID, nullable, GUID.empty. This becomes GUID. And this becomes GUID.empty. Save. All right, so there's that one. And let's build and then I got to go to npclist.razor.cs. Yep. Go to definition. Holy smokes. That's a whole lot of cores, dude. View NPC handler, func, GUID, save it. That don't exist. Sort of, kind of. Imagine what could be done using DeepSeek's techniques on NVIDIA's newest chips, because DeepSeek is open source, which means a skilled and motivated individual within a country that is allowed to have access to NVIDIA's latest and greatest chipsets could download the source code to DeepSeek or whatever and pull it apart and start iterating on it. Just saying. All right. So theoretically, I've got all of the changes made that are needed to start using a GUID instead of an int for that NPC ID. One thing to do. Well, first, we'll run all my unit tests, because there was a little bit of change somewhere in the game tools townsperson or townsfolk manager stuff. And this is going to take a minute because there's like 1,600 unit tests. All right. Looks like we're good on the tests. Let's do the eyeballs on screen, hands on keyboard test of the app. Make sure it still works. Oh yeah. Some services are not able to be constructed. Oh yeah, of course. Durr. I got to update program CS. So let's spin up here and find NPC access .v1 and let's see. Using game tools dot npc access dot v1. Save. And we'll just spin down here. Aha, yes. Definition for use NPC table storage provider. No accessible extension method. Oh, right. That's how I'm adding that. So I don't actually need this. I do need that. And I need to come into my resource access and the table provider and the dependency builder. Azure tables, iService collection, doing all the things. Add scoped v1.npc access. new v1 dot NPC access table provider. What's this complaining about? Using gametools.npc access.v1. Let's try that. Oh, right on. NPC access.inpc access. All right, and what's this complaining about? v1 abstract using v1 implementation. Ha! Right on. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so let's say v1 abstract v1 implementation. And does that fix it? Sure does. Save, rebuild, and we'll try running it again in a second, as soon as it's all done. All right. Well, looks like it's spun up. That's a good sign. We don't have any compiler errors or compiler warnings, but that doesn't mean it's 100%. We're 100% in the clear, because we need to now, come on, sign in as me. And we'll sign in as the main testing account. Okay, we haven't tried to hit the database yet, and we have an unhandled error, as I expected. Partials NPC list, execute filter. Blah, blah, blah. OData error, invalid resource name. Contains invalid characters. Ooh. In circuit. Fetching the NPC list failed. Yeah, I know. Oh, I bet. Oh, good Lord. Server circuits, remote rendering. Connect response to validate. What the heck? No, that's okay. But bad request. blah, 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 blah. NPC list, execute filter. Let's go in there. Component pages, partials, NPC list. New NPC collect. Oh yeah. That sounds like a whole lot of not fun stuff you're dealing with there. And the name of the method is something, execute filter. So let's drop a breakpoint into here. NPC list, on after render, execute filter. Let's go here. All right. Reload. Boop. Come out here, loading. All right, we're into execute filter. So guard NPC services, that's probably fine. Get current user. Is groovy. Filter is new NPC client filter. User ID, loading NPCs. Let's step in. Proxy payload, proxy result. Townsperson filter. Let's go in here. API result is probably a 404. We've got errors. Specified resource name could not be found. Oh, I know what my problem is. And it's something that I had to do up in the resource access thing. And I completely forgot about having to do it this morning because I created that utility app and I used copies of these resource access components in it. And let's see here. Where do I declare my base table here? In Azure Tables, you cannot have non-alphanumeric characters in your table names. That means underscores are right out. So I named the actual table V1 user objects. Here I thought I had done something horrible and made a terrible decision to store these IDs as GUIDs, thinking that, oh my gosh, I hope these values are actually legal. And of course they are, because there's GUIDs everywhere in Azure. And I was able to migrate all of the objects without trouble. And it's just that I forgot to remake a change over here in code that I had used in the utility to bring all of the data over. And we still got another error. Oh, probably because I didn't do the whole bloody stupid rebuild dance. We'll rebuild. As a matter of fact, let's come up here. NPC access filter result. Here's all the stuff. Okay. Let's go ahead and just drop a breakpoint right here. And run. after having rebuilt. And we're running. I don't have a window open for it, but that's okay. We will do this. HTTPS localhost 7277. Let's go to my townsfolks. Here's this. I'm going to just run this to here. And let's step over this filter code just to be for sure. Calculate the partition key, build the table client, query async. Oh, heck yeah. Go. Proxy result. I've got a payload. Engage. Make it so. I've got NPCs. Hooray. Now, let's test view. There's Aaron Thalor. Stop. Go. Go. Caching. Notes. Immediate to-dos. No. That's not necessary, but the unfamiliar settings, keys, TDMF, to-dos. Figure out what features can be, code to-dos. Application enhancements. Add caching to the NPC List page. I'm not going to use like any kind of fancy Redis cache or anything like that at this point in time. Okay, Lirael, let's make sure Lirael loads. There she is. Back to list. Let's set up a new NPC. Half orc, farmer, was an urchin. I dig it. Generate. Here he is, Gromach. Back to the list. Where's Gromach? I know he's in here somewhere. Gromach, where are you at? Here's Gromach. Let's open him up. And there he is. Okay, so some sorting. Oof. Oh, yeah, that's always fun, isn't it? So we've got that stuff. That's groovy. Functionally, it is doing most of the things that we need it to do. However, it's not sorting by most recently created. So let's take a look up here in our V1 table provider. Yep. And stop the app, filter results, new, calculate partition key. Query async, NPC entity pages. And what I think I need to do partition key equals partition key. All right. For some reason, it looks like the temporal sort got lost along the way. The sort back in. We're going to do that in the next session, or I might do it in between. We'll see. When I come back in the afternoon, maybe we'll look at deleting NPCs that we don't need to keep around, or at least getting the back-end infrastructure in place to add that when it's time. But after I get the sorted, we're going to be at a pretty all right spot as far as this refactor goes. So that's pretty awesome. So until this afternoon, or until the next time I do this, take care of yourselves. Mischief. Good luck with all of your virtual machine foolishness. I know it's not foolish to be setting them up, but it sounds like you've run into some serious foolishness. So good luck with that. I know you'll get past it. You're smart. And I will see you all next time. Happy coding.